Hey everyone, welcome again to the Immortality Podcast. I'm your host Jake, here with Josh. Today we're going to be drinking another Phoenix Oolong from Guangdong in southern China.
I don't quite know what is a Phoenix Oolong.
So Phoenix just means like the mountain. Phoenix Mountain is like the area. These are called Dan Cong Oolongs, which means, I believe, directly single trunk, but single grove is a little more accurate. So let's just get this tea started and we'll talk about that.
Single grove. So that means all from the same field or all from one area?
So yeah, more or less. It's tea picked from older bushes and trees in kind of a single area that were propagated by a single tea plant. So like they're all more or less genetically identical or genetically similar. Like they're all clippings of of the same tree, in that area. That's why they're called single grove trees, like Dan Cong Oolongs. For these, the important thing is the character of the specific area, the specific tea bushes in that area. And there's kind of a wild amount of difference between some of these. And they definitely have their own unique qualities. So this one here, if you want to smell it, I'm already smelling like fruity, chocolatey notes. This one is called Daoye, otherwise known as Big Dark Leaf.
That's a really great description that Jake gave about the single grove. But I think what's really interesting about these teas and kind of how I remember the Dan Cong or the Dan Cong Oolongs is whatever you think tea is supposed to taste like, this throws a curveball at you because you taste flavors that you don't even think could come out of tea that isn't like flavored with like fruit flavor or some artificial flavor, but the flavor in these Dan Congs all come from the growing process, the cultivars, and then processing all of that together. And it really refines the essences of these fruit flavors in a way that, these are mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, these teas are famous for being especially high aroma.
The aroma is, Jake, it's like lemon balm, lemongrass, mango, and then fruits I haven't even eaten yet.
Fruits that have yet to be discovered by man.
Yeah, exactly. The tie-dye lychee.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. So the Daoye is actually a hybrid of Shuishan and Yashishan. So Shuishan means water sprite. Yashishan is, of course, duck shit aroma, as tea nerds know.
The duck shit is no joke.
It's a hybrid of those. Shuishan, definitely one of the oldest, but maybe the oldest extant oolong varietal that exists. Probably originated in these mountains. And then Yashishan, of course, of an extremely famous, highly sought after varietal. So let's bottoms up right now. Cacao.
Mango.
Yeah. These teas definitely have a little astringency. You want to use a light touch on them. The astringency is very complemented, of course, by the fruit and floral flavors.
Yeah, and I feel like because they're so high aroma, they can be quick steep. Because if you're steeping them too long, you're just consolidating all of that aroma, which is really a volatile organic compound.
Oh my God, this is just like a bath bomb in my mouth. Not in a bad way.
No, but it literally, you're right. Like you don't expect tea to be this aromatic, this flavorful, and this complex.
Yeah.
And like it does taste like a bath bomb because of that thick. It's got a liquor in there. There is some niceness in there.
Nice uplifting, calming energy too.
Well, and I think with these specifically, because of the high aroma, I definitely think that high aroma and those fruitier flavors, those cacao notes, all help the nutrients and the vitamins pass the blood-brain barrier a lot easier because of what they call, the flavor and the smell profile, which is the terpenes. Those all help the nutrients cross the blood-brain barrier easier. So how many of these different Dan Congs do you have currently?
Oh, I think we have 4 available online right now. We might have 1 or 2 that are not quite ready to be released yet, still kind of coming down off their roast.
So this one would be the Daoye?
The Daoye, we sell it as dark leaf. It means, Daoye literally means big dark leaf.
And then the Milanshan, is that another one?
Milanshan honey orchid aroma, yeah, and then the Yashishan Daksha aroma, and I think we have some almond blossom aroma left over from 2019 as well. And those are all online. And then, like I said, there's a few other ones. Like I can't exactly remember which ones that are still coming off their roasts, and so need more time to rest before they're ready to be released.
I mean, if you like high aroma, complex flavors that drift from cacao to deep fruit notes, I would seriously suggest getting a couple ounces of each one that they have online, because, again, this tea, it's so surprising when you drink it.
It's an aroma hunter's tea for sure. Like if you like high aromatics in a tea, this is exactly what you want.
If your girlfriend or your partner loves tea and they haven't heard of this variety and they like loose leaf teas, I would definitely get this for them just to try, because I think it's a real treat. And to be honest with you, when you taste the tea, you might not even believe that it exists. Like it's that confronting, in the sense of like, to think that a tea that is naturally processed, naturally grown, has this level of flavor and aroma.
The other thing I want to highlight about this tea was harvested in 2020. So it's, it's not like it's not fresh off the vine, like by any means. So what we did with these in 2020, we did something we wanted to try something a little different. Our 2020 Dan Congs, we asked to be roasted an additional time. So this one is roasted 3 times, which is more than usual for one of these kinds of teas. You're not going to want to drink it right away, right after the roast process, because it's just you're kind of just gonna get charcoal character, and that's it. But once that's mellowed, what I found is like these were a little mellower, smoother, juicier. Also, theoretically, it's going to improve their ability to age, right? Because you're not really trying to like preserve like any like fresh flavors in them. You're trying to like develop the deeper flavors that already exist there. So these are going to be interesting to see how they develop down the line. And teas like this are also going to be somewhat hard to find. I don't know of anywhere else that will do 3-time roasts on their Dan Cong oolongs, and then do it a year or 2 of aging for you on the back end.
To be honest with you, I think it's pretty much unheard of in the mainstream tea market.
From what I know, yeah.
This is boutique grade, but really artisanal grade tea. This tea really, in a lot of ways, represents the pinnacle of humans on Earth processing a plant and having a relationship with it for hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years. I mean, this is not Nest tea. You can't find this at Whole Foods. Jeff Bezos has no clue how to get this on Amazon, because the farmers who farm this and processes it live in a different reality.
Careful, we just got flagged. We're going to get bought out now.
Yeah, exactly.
On this steep, yeah, it's highly floral. I don't know, like lavender, orchids, a good amount of fruit juice, like, I don't know, grape juice.
How many steeps are we on? Oh, 3rd or 4th?
3?
Yeah,
God, we're so bad at this.
Yeah, check the video for the replay, but I'm pretty sure we're somewhere in 3 or 4.
I think that was the 3rd steep.
Yeah.
These usually don't give you like all the steeps in the world. It's not a puer, but I think you're gonna get like 6 to 8 good steeps off one of these.
Yeah, and just reiterating what Jake said, these are more of the quick, flavorful, aromatic drinker. 6 to 8 steeps, and probably about 4 to 5 steeps in, the floral notes and the fruity notes and the aromas start to fade, and it goes almost towards like a pine or like a conifer.
Well, but unlike some oolongs though, I think this one is going to have enough body to like really carry it. It is from older bushes, older trees.
Oh, nice.
And it has wild character. It's a wild tea. It's an old tea tree.
Oh, so this is old tea bush.
Yeah, it's old. It's
nice.
I think I'm pretty sure like anything harvested like in the true Phoenix Mountain area is at least 60 years old. So I'm guessing these bushes are 60 to 100 years old.
I'm noticing the more piney, conifer, resinous kind of notes kind of hang out now, which is nice. I like that.
I still want to do a light touch. This tea is really strong.
It is very strong. Okay, I'm tea drunk. I'm going to admit it.
Okay. That's fair.
Is there anything else about this tea that makes it really special for being a Dan Cong oolong?
So, the thing about Dan Cong's is you just want to like explore the varietals in the areas, because that's kind of like the point of these kinds of teas, is to like see the specific expression of terroir and like family in these of these varietals. And there's going to be a lot of variation, just in terms of where exactly it's grown, how much shade or sun it's getting, like how high up the mountain it is, how rocky the terrain is or isn't. Also, what's important, of course, is the genetics of the tea varietal. This is, a unique, naturally occurring combination of two different teas that was propagated because someone liked it.
If I was in those tea fields hundreds and hundreds of years ago, I probably would have crossbred these two.
Yeah.
I mean, the duck shit with the shui shan, the water sprite. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the way to equate this to modern day is like kind of like if you were growing apples, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the Fuji apple strain or the pink lady strain or the Granny Smith, and then you just cloned that one variety that you really liked, and then you planted a whole field with it so that you kind of guaranteed that it would be the exact genetic replicant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, except this isn't from a field, right? It's still wild growing, but it's in like the same grove. So I did an extra like 5 or 10 seconds on that one, just because now that was like the 5th-ish steeping, I think. I'm not really expecting to push this past 8.
I'm sorry, Dan Cong. I didn't mean to say you were grown in a field. You are much tastier than any field-grown tea.
Right, exactly. No, it's true though. I mean, there's a lot of good field-grown teas, but there is definitely something special about truly wild tea. I will say though that in terms of like who this tea is aimed at in the U.S., like it's an accessible tea. It's a pleasing tea because of all the floral and fruit notes. It's also a bit of a challenging tea to brew, though. I might not recommend this one to just anyone. I think you should have some experience with Gongfucha style brewing to brew this, because like I said, this one comes out the gates pretty strong. You want to use a light steep, and then you want to like really pay attention to it and temper it after that. This is a good steep. I think this was about 20 seconds we did.
And even from what Jake said, 20 seconds, and we're on our 5th cup almost.
Yeah.
Whereas those early steeps were extremely gentle. 5
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
Exactly what Jake said. Like, yes, this is an easy to drink tea, but just the ability to brew it is a little more complex and a little more
Easy to drink, hard to brew.
Yeah, because every time we see tea, we're used to saying, oh yeah, that can stay in there for 30 seconds. I think oversteeping with this tea is very easy, and really start with that 5 to 10 seconds. Because I think you're going to get more of the flavor you want. And then that's kind of the learning curve with the Gong Fu style brewing. And then I think with temperatures too, you could probably really augment a lot of the flavors.
I was going to say you could probably do this from like 195 instead of like 200 like we're doing now.
Yeah, and then even if you did go down to 195, you could play with 190 and then play with 190, but then increase your steeping time. So maybe it's not 5 to 10 seconds. Maybe it's a 10 to 15. Maybe it's a 15 to 20. But as your temperature goes lower, you can extend your steeping time, and that lower temperature will really preserve a lot of the aromatics and a lot of the fruitier flavors, and it won't burn off kind of those volatile organic compound flavor components and smell.
So we can see why this is called Big Dark Leaf, because that would be because of the big dark leaves. But yeah, it's really pretty though, right? Nice little olive color, even oxidation, nice big plucks, good ratio of stems and buds.
This is really nice.
Yeah.
Like I love the high mountain oolongs, and I think the Dan Congs really, to me, come in at like a really close second, but that's just from my own personal tea palate. I really like the high aromatics and just the level of tea technology that goes into this.
Oh, this is generations of expertise that we're drinking right now.
When people drink this tea, they probably also want to make sure to have some food with it, or not as much. Maybe definitely not
probably.
as much.
I think the roast helps with that. I think the roast is going to take off a little bit of the more aggressive character. I was going to say though, I did want to point out. I feel like I can definitely still taste the charcoal and like a little mineral in this, even in these later steeps, which is nice. It gives it kind of like a backbone.
I think I was referring to that smokiness as a pininess, but it was really that smokiness that comes from the charcoal.
It might be the charcoal, yeah.
Yeah, and then because it is a heavier roasted. I think that's a really unique advantage about Trident Cafe and Teas is that they're really trying to present these teas in the most authentic way that these teas are actually made. And I think that's hard, you know, because
we're trying to give people like real products, you know, not like low quality blended, faked Dan Congs.
Well, and like all that other stuff isn't going to have the medicinal or the energetic or even the authenticity or the flavor.
Oh, that's really nice. A lot of sweetness in this one.
It tastes like a weird pastry cookie. Yeah, like I don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say like honey or agave.
Yeah, definitely honey. Honey agave. It. You're right, though. I mean, again, like
What?
there's that strong flavor note that's coming out, kind of the aftertaste.
It's the astringency. These teas are supposed to be a little bit astringent. It really complements the floral quality.
Is there anything else you want to tell people about this tea?
Well, I just want to reiterate that this is a really unique tea insofar as, you know, we asked it to be roasted an additional time because we rest all our teas. You know, the farmer wouldn't do that for us anyone because the tea wouldn't taste good in the first year. And it's also a little bit experimental. You know, it's a little more for the American palate. You know, it just pushes it like a little juicier and fruitier than like grassy floral. So I think this is a really unique tea. You know, it's authentic. It's from like a specific origin. You know, we have like the harvest date, the information, the location, all that. You know, it's a farmer we've worked with for years and years. So I think this is like, you know, worth a try for like very serious Chinese tea drinkers looking for something real.
Can you tell us anything about the farmer that grew this tea?
This farmer has farms in Wuyi and Dan Cong, and you know we source some of the green teas from. But there's someone that, you know, consistently puts out really high quality products and works very closely with us.
Where can people find this tea?
You can find this tea and others like it online at tridentcafe.com/teas or in the shop on Pearl Street in Boulder, Colorado. Again, I don't know where else you're going to find more heavily roasted Dan Cong. It's a bit of an interesting product, and we are going to put aside some of this to age. So in 5 or 10 years, check back in.
How much of this do you have, and do you think people should wait on this? Do you think this could be one that sells out fast?
I would expect this one to be on for a few months, but you know, don't sleep on any of these. These are rare. You know, it was harvested 2 years ago, right? About. So what we have is what we got, and then once this lot sells out, you're gonna have to wait till next year's, and who knows? And
yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you, everyone, again for joining us here at the tea table. Enjoy your drinking.
We hope all of your tea will be tasteful.